Welcome to the Cheating Wife Stories channel. I don't know how I feel. She's standing at the kitchen counter, her back to me, gaze cold as if she's looking past me at something more important, or nothing at all. Her eyes aren't hateful, exactly, just distant, indifferent. I can't remember the last time she looked at me with warmth. I see the tension in the tightness of her jaw, the slight lift of her chin, but there's no real emotion there. Or maybe I'm not ready to see it. I catch the faint scent of her shampoo, the same floral aroma she's always used, but it feels foreign to me now, like a memory you can't quite place. The silence in this house is almost painful. We have the usual morning noises, a slight hum from the fridge, the creak of the old heating system, distant traffic from the street. But beneath all that is a different kind of quiet, like when a storm is on the horizon, and the air presses in on you. My chest tightens, my shoulder aches, an old injury flaring up. Physical pain from the tension in my muscles, perhaps, or from something deeper. She notices I've come in. "Coffee's ready," she says, her voice steady but devoid of warmth. She taps her fingernails on the countertop. Used to be, she'd turn and give me a little smile, something to start the day off right. Now, I get a glance, a curt nod, and the bare minimum of courtesy. I want to ask, "Do you still love me?" But I'm afraid I might already know the answer. I pour myself a cup of coffee and try to keep calm. The steam rises up, fogging my glasses. I feel that swirl of confusion inside me, and I'm acutely aware of the throbbing in my right knee. It's the same dull ache I get when a storm's coming. Maybe it's just the old basketball injury, or maybe it's every muscle in my body warning me. Something is wrong, and you can't pretend anymore. Last week, our neighbor Harold, cantankerous old man, pulled me aside. "Saw your wife leaving real early," he said, half smiling in a way that suggested he enjoyed the gossip. "Just wearing a shirt. Could have sworn it was one of yours, David. She got home awfully late the night before, didn't she?" I must have looked blank, because he kept going. "Must have been sleepwalking, right?" And then he cackled, tapping his cane against his hip. I forced a laugh, pretended it didn't matter. But inside, I felt something tear, a mixture of humiliation and anger, and a creeping suspicion. I asked myself, why is she wearing my shirts to meet someone else? Do I even want to know the details? And the worst part, I'm terrified of the answers, because once you face the truth, you can't unknow it. Over the next few days, I started noticing the shirts. My older flannels, my comfortable cotton tees, they'd vanish from the hamper or from the closet, only to reappear tossed over a chair, slightly wrinkled and smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. It was like little pieces of me, little clues scattered around. Then came the cough. My son, our son, developed this rasp in his chest. The doctor called it mild bronchitis. We did the usual checkups, the medication, everything. But something about the sound didn't feel like it belonged to me. And that ridiculous thought gnawed at my mind until I did something I never imagined. A DNA test. When I got the results, my heart pounded so loud I could hear it echo in my ears. He wasn't mine. The lines of text confirmed it. I can't describe the emptiness in that moment, like the ground fell away beneath my feet. I stood there in the hallway, the test results crumpled in my fist, and felt a wave of nausea rise. I started sweating, all the energy draining out of my body. I asked myself if maybe there was some error, some lab mix-up. But in my gut, I knew. The mirror had been whispering it, day after day, telling me he didn't look like me. And now it was official. My wife's child was not my own. I don't knock on her door anymore. Our bedroom door, ironically. I pay her bills, cover the mortgage, keep food on the table, handle the insurance. That's enough, I figure. After all, what more can I do? I'm locked in a house with a stranger. It's like every day is a performance, a hollow routine. She's going through the motions too. But behind her eyes, I see a flicker of worry sometimes, perhaps even guilt. "I'm going out for groceries," she says one morning, grabbing her purse and heading to the door. I can't even muster a response. I nod. My shoulder tenses. As soon as the door closes, I let out a harsh breath and sink into the armchair by the window. I feel that ache in my back, that creeping physical pain that reminds me I'm alive. Because right now, everything feels numb. I sit there, staring at nothing, wondering if she's really going for groceries, or if she's sneaking off to meet him. Days pass in this slow torture. The temperature between us at home drops further. She notices me withdrawing, feels the chill in my voice. Suddenly, she starts buying steaks. These expensive cuts we never used to splurge on. Trying to make me a fancy dinner. She wears makeup more often, tries to laugh at my jokes. She's coming home earlier than she used to. Maybe she thinks she can smooth it all over, paint over the cracks. Maybe she believes we can return to normal if she just tries hard enough. But I can't see her the same way. Every time I look at her, my mind replays that glimpse of her walking out at dawn wearing my shirt, disappearing into a car that isn't mine. The day I decide to act, I'm sitting in my truck outside one of my shipping depots, flicking through the phone for potential drivers to hire. I come across Jake Hamilton, an older name in my contact list. He used to do some deliveries for me until I replaced him with a more reliable guy. The new driver, Jake's younger cousin, had been the one, ironically, who caught my wife's eye. I wonder if it's worth bringing Jake back on board. He's cruder, louder, and overall a bit less polished. That suits me just fine right now. I summon him to my office. "Jake," I say, "I got some runs need covering." Pays decent. Interested. He shrugs, crosses his arms, asks a few standard questions about hours and pay. I can see he's not thrilled about the structured schedules, but he's short on options. He knows me well enough to sense something's off. I don't try to hide it. My knee throbs, reminding me of the tension. He eventually agrees. Contract signed, done. At home, I hand him the keys to a spare company truck and tell him, "Park right out front when you swing by with the paperwork, and make sure to beep if I'm not out there." He looks at me, confusion flickering across his face. But I don't explain. I just wave him off. Let the neighbors see the big battered truck in my driveway. Let them stare. Let them wonder. If Emily's lover is indeed that younger cousin, if that's who's been sneaking around, then I want them to see a different driver stepping on his territory. I want that car in my driveway to provoke jealousy, to blow the lid off their discreet little arrangement. A few days later, I'm woken at dawn by a noise outside. The grind of a truck's engine, the honk. I look out the window and spot Jake leaning against the driver's side door. He's got a cocky grin, a cigarette in his mouth. The vehicle is parked partially on the lawn, a flagrant disregard for property lines. My wife peers out through the curtains of the living room window. She looks alarmed, confused. She steps outside in her robe and calls softly, "Is David expecting you?" She's glancing around, worried about who might see. Jake's voice booms, "Yeah, I got a delivery for him. Some new route details." He flicks his cigarette. The tension in her eyes spikes. She's checking to see if the neighbors are watching. Harold might be peeking from behind his blinds. She hates scenes, always did. She begs for normalcy, for the facade that everything is fine. But now she's faced with Jake's brazen arrival. This intrusion, this chaos, is exactly what I hoped for. She calls my name, her voice carrying a strained note. "David, your driver's here." I let her wait a full minute before I stroll out. I take my time. My body feels heavy, weighed down by the knowledge of what she's done. And by the knowledge of what I'm doing now. Revenge is a slow burn. I nod at Jake, who hands me some paperwork, his grin unwavering. "Thanks, Jake," I say, making sure to raise my voice. "Go ahead and park in the driveway anytime you need, all right." He gives a mock salute, climbs back into the truck, and roars off. Emily stands there, arms wrapped around herself. She tries to catch my eyes, but I stare into the distance. I can't bring myself to meet her gaze, because if I look, I might explode in rage. And I'm afraid of what that rage could do. She whispers, "What's going on, David?" My mouth twitches, wanting to hurl accusations. Instead, I say, "Work," and I turn away. She's left standing there, uncertain. The sky is gray, clouds heavy with impending rain. My knee throbs again. The day I find them together, I'm not even sure if I planned it or stumbled upon it. The memory is already scorched into my mind. It's evening, and I'm coming home earlier than usual. I haven't texted or called. My head's been pounding all day. Maybe it's guilt or the stress of my twisted game with Jake. Maybe it's the relentless question echoing in my mind. Are you really doing this to torture her or to torture yourself? Because each passing hour in that house feels like a betrayal of my own dignity. I pull into the driveway, quietly this time, not wanting them to hear the engine. The porch light is off. The living room curtains are drawn. The only illumination comes from a dim glow in our upstairs bedroom window. My stomach clenches. Something's off about the silence. I climb out of the car, stepping carefully on the gravel. My shoulders ache with tension. I slip my keys into the door, push it open. The hallway is dark. I can hear soft voices upstairs, hushed laughter, the sound of bed springs creaking. My heart lurches, and a wave of dizziness hits me so hard I have to lean against the wall. My right knee nearly buckles. 1,000 questions slice through my mind. Do I want to see this? Do I want to confirm the worst? I creep up the stairs, each step feeling like an eternity. My throat is so dry I can hardly swallow. I reach the top and pause, pressing a hand to my chest, feeling the thunder of my heart. The door to our bedroom is cracked open, just enough that I can hear them clearly. Her voice is low, breathy, laced with longing. His voice, deeper, responding with quiet moans. Then I see the silhouettes on the bed. Emily's bare shoulders, his hands on her hips, the faint reflection of sweat on their skin from the lamp on the nightstand. My mind screams, "This is your wife. That's your bed." But my body is frozen. Time stands still for a moment. I can't move, can't even breathe properly. It's like everything narrows to the sight of them intertwined. Her head tilts back, a soft gasp escaping her lips. He murmurs something. I can't make out the words, only the tone. Intimate, familiar. The lamp casts shadows on the wall. I see the arch of her back, the way her fingers tangle in his hair. There's an undeniable electricity in the air, a rawness that makes my stomach twist in both fury and an odd, horrifying fascination. I wait to explode, to burst in there and drag him off her, to shout at her and demand an explanation. But nothing happens. My rage is there, like a coiled serpent, yet I remain silent, pinned by shock. I'm trembling from the inside out. There's a physical pain in my gut, a searing ache that radiates all the way up to my temples. I can't even call it heartbreak. It's something more primitive. I step back, pressing myself against the hallway wall. My breath is ragged. I wonder if they heard me. But no, they're too caught up in each other to notice. For a second, I close my eyes and consider leaving, just walking out of the house, never coming back. Then I imagine the talk of the neighborhood. Emily would eventually move on. The child who isn't mine would grow up calling someone else dad. And me, I'd be the fool who ran away. I don't know how long I stand there. Probably a minute, maybe 2. Feels like hours. The sounds from the bedroom intensify, then subside. There's a soft laughter, then quiet. My fists clench at my sides, nails biting into my palms. If I go in now, it'll be a storm. Violent, unstoppable. I'm not sure if I trust myself to keep things only verbal. The best I can do is turn around. So I leave, heading back down the stairs silently, out the door, into the night. I drive aimlessly for hours, the city lights flickering by in a blur. My knee throbs worse than ever, and I grip the steering wheel so hard my knuckles go white. I stop at a late-night diner for coffee, but the smell of bacon and eggs nearly makes me nauseous. I end up in a deserted parking lot, letting the engine idle, staring at nothing. Thoughts swirl. This is my life. This is real. She's with him, right now, in our bed. The question that loops in my head is, what am I going to do? By the time I crawl back into the house, it's close to dawn. The bedroom door is shut. I assume he's gone. I half expect to see her wearing my shirt again, but she's asleep, or pretending to be. The child is in his room, hopefully none the wiser to the chaos around him. I lie on the couch, bury my face in a pillow, and pass out from sheer exhaustion. In the morning, she pretends everything is fine. I see it in the way she arranges plates at breakfast, fusses over the child's cough, and puts on a bright, hollow smile. "Busy night?" she asks, voice carefully neutral. "Yeah," I reply curtly, my voice edged in bitterness. She tries to keep her facade intact, but I sense her guilt. Maybe she thinks I didn't notice anything. Maybe she believes she can still hide. The tension is suffocating. My stomach is in knots. I can hardly stand to stay in the same room. And she must see it in my eyes, that I'm different now, distant, colder. The next day, she confronts me directly in the kitchen. "David, what's wrong?" I feel like we're drifting apart. Her hand hovers near my arm. "Drifting apart?" I echo, voice trembling with suppressed rage. "Emily, that's a nice way to phrase it." I wonder if she expects me to say something more. She bites her lip, glancing at the door, probably worried the neighbors might overhear if we raise our voices. "Is there something you want to talk about?" She presses, forcing a gentle tone that feels painfully artificial. I stare at her, searching her face for some crack in the mask, some admission of guilt. My chest tightens again. Physical pain pulses up my neck. "No," I finally say. "Nothing worth discussing." She exhales sharply. I see the fear in her eyes. She's uncertain, maybe starting to suspect that I know more than I'm letting on. But she's too afraid to push. She just nods, stepping back. "Okay," she whispers. I'll be in the living room." She vanishes, and I slump against the counter, my knee throbbing so bad I want to scream. Silence returns, pressing in on me. It feels like the entire house is suffocating under the weight of the unspoken truth. That night, I get quiet, quieter than usual. She tries to make small talk over dinner. I barely respond. She tries to show me pictures of an event she planned, praising the decor and the color scheme. I offer a grunt. Eventually, she gives up, pushing her plate away. We barely touch our food. She tries to keep the conversation alive for the child's sake, asking about his day at school. I chime in here and there, but my words sound distant even to me. I ask myself a dozen questions. Where did I go wrong? Did I ever really know her? Do I even want to fix this? The scariest question. Am I capable of a life beyond this betrayal, or am I too broken? I'm afraid of that answer more than anything. My revenge unfolds slowly. Day by day, I have Jake show up at odd times, deliver packages, honk the horn. He's clueless about the deeper plan, only that I'm paying him well and letting him break minor rules that I used to enforce. He pulls up to the house, sometimes blasting music or cursing loudly on a phone call. The neighbors watch. Emily wrings her hands, embarrassment coloring her cheeks. I catch her whispering, "Could you please not park on the lawn? Or you're disturbing everyone, you know." But Jake doesn't care. He shrugs. He's getting paid. Meanwhile, the younger driver, the one who had been involved with her, starts getting jealous. He calls me, complains about the new routes. He's losing hours, losing the easy runs that let him stop by my house whenever he pleased. I can almost hear his frustration over the phone, though he never says it outright. I picture him telling Emily that I'm doing this on purpose, which of course I am. If they want to be together, let them do it in the spotlight. Let the neighbors gossip. Let Harold see. One evening, I see her pacing in the backyard, phone pressed to her ear. She's talking in hushed tones, glancing nervously at the house. I can't catch every word, but I pick out, he's changed. We have to be careful. And I'm scared. My heart hardens. She should be scared. The physical ache in my body transforms into a cold determination. I won't let her see how deeply hurt I am. This new, colder version of me is all she gets now. 2 nights later, she tries to coax me into bed. It's been ages since we shared that space intimately. She appears in the doorway of my makeshift office, wearing a slip that used to drive me wild. She's wearing makeup, eyes done up. "David," she says softly, "maybe we should try to reconnect." There's a tremor in her voice. She senses my distance, maybe feels the final shreds of our marriage slipping away. She steps closer, runs a hand along my shoulder. I look at her, noticing how forced her seduction is. There's a desperation that borders on pity. My body tenses, remembering the sight of her in bed with another man. Her fingers trail along my chest, but all I feel is anger and the echo of betrayal. I gently push her hand away and say, "It's late. I'm tired." Then I stand up and walk out, leaving her alone in the hallway. The slight slump of her shoulders, the tears she's trying to hide, those details register in the corner of my mind. But my face remains stoic. My heart hammers with conflicting emotions: sorrow, bitterness, satisfaction at her pain, and a deep exhaustion that makes me want to sink into oblivion. In the following days, we eat dinner together with the child, then retreat to separate rooms. She cries sometimes, tries to apologize with gestures, steak dinners, cleaned laundry, half-hearted jokes. I respond with minimal nods. My voice is cold. The tension builds to a point where even the child picks up on it, though he doesn't fully understand. He just senses that Dad is different, that Mom is anxious, that something is terribly off. A couple weeks pass in this deadlock. Finally, I realize the energy it takes to keep this charade going is draining the life out of me. I decide I need an exit plan. Late one night, I stand in the garage with the overhead light buzzing and flickering. I look at all the tools, the old boxes, the remnants of a life we built together. My chest feels hollow, and the only thought that surfaces is, it's time. I don't pack much. I collect a few personal belongings, some clothes, my father's watch. I carry them out to my truck while Emily's in the kitchen rinsing dishes. She notices me on my second trip. "David," she calls, wiping her hands on a towel. "What are you doing?" I don't bother to hide it. "I'm leaving," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. The air around us feels suddenly charged. She drops the towel, eyes wide. Tears form instantly, and she rushes over, grabbing my arm. "What do you mean you're leaving? You can't just walk out." There's panic in her voice, genuine fear. For a moment, I remember the day I married her, how her eyes lit up, how she used to laugh with complete abandon. That memory stabs me in the gut, but I remain resolute. "I can't stay here," I reply, carefully untangling myself from her grip. My gaze wanders around the house. So many years of shared moments, but those memories are eclipsed by the image of her in bed with him. I can still see the lines of their bodies, the curve of her back, the way his hand slid over her skin. My shoulder flares with pain, and I tighten my jaw. She sputters, "David, I know, wait. Look, whatever it is, I'm sorry. Please, just talk to me." She's crying now, tears streaking her cheeks, voice breaking. "We can fix this, can't we?" I stand there, silent, letting her words hang in the air. I feel empty. The final stages of revenge are more hollow than I'd imagined. I can't even take satisfaction from her pleading. "We already talked," I say eventually, looking into her tear-filled eyes. "We just never used words." She steps back, arms wrapped around herself as if to hold in her pain. "Don't go," she whispers. I walk to the door, turning once before stepping out. The child is nowhere in sight, probably in his room, oblivious to the fact that I'm leaving for good. I glance back at Emily, remembering that she once wore my shirts as a flirty gesture, back when we were happy. But that was a lifetime ago. Now my shirts mean something else entirely. I slam the door behind me, the sound echoing through the quiet night. As I walk down the driveway, I notice a car idling at the curb. The windows are tinted, but I know who's inside. I hear an engine rev softly, and then I see a face leaning forward into the glow of the dash. It's him, Jake's cousin, the younger driver, the one she shared my bed with. He smirks at me through the window, as though relishing this victory. My chest clenches with a final wave of rage, but it subsides almost immediately. I'm tired, drained. The storm inside me has peaked. Now there's only the aftermath. Emily appears in the doorway, tears streaming. She calls my name, but I can't make out the words. Her voice sounds muffled, like I'm underwater. The man in the car smiles, a triumphant sneer. I climb into my truck and start the engine. She's still there, one hand on the doorframe, dressed in a simple blouse and jeans, no stolen shirt this time. I let out a shaky breath, my mind echoing with the question, is this freedom or defeat? I'm afraid of the answer. I back out slowly. She doesn't chase me. She just stands there, crying. By the time I straighten the wheel, I see him stepping out of the car, calling her name. Too late, I think. Too damn late. The moment I pull away from the curb, I feel a sudden release in my chest, like a band snapping. My knee still hurts, my shoulders are still knotted with tension, but inside my head, there's a strange quiet. An emptiness. I navigate the familiar streets, noticing the lights in neighbors' windows, thinking about how they'll whisper their theories in the morning. Harold will wag his cane. But I don't care anymore. Let them talk. I accelerate once I reach the main road, the night sky stretching overhead. I ask myself, what do I do now? And I don't know. I'm afraid of that answer. There's no plan beyond leaving. But for the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. The numbness is still there, but a tiny spark of relief flickers in my chest. Maybe that's how freedom feels, like pain that's finally begun to thaw. I drive until my eyes burn from exhaustion. Pull into a vacant lot near a closed convenience store. When I turn off the engine, the world around me is silent. And so am I. My stomach twists at the thought of tomorrow, of living a life that's no longer tethered to that house or that woman. I press my forehead against the steering wheel. My breath trembles. My entire body aches. My knee, my shoulder, my chest. Yet beneath that ache, there's a new calm. I whisper to myself, I don't know how I feel, and realize that I've been circling that question for weeks. The quiet inside me is unsettling, but at least I'm not pretending anymore. She can have him, and he can have whatever's left of her. I've played my game of revenge, and it's left me hollow, but also strangely unburdened. In punishing her, I punished myself. Maybe that's the price of betrayal. Maybe that's the only way out. A gust of wind rattles the truck windows, and I realize a storm is indeed coming. Rain spatters the windshield. Thunder rumbles in the distance. My knee twinges, reminding me that pain is part of living. I let out a long exhale, start the engine again, and pull back onto the road. I drive on, with nowhere in particular to go. The wipers beat a steady rhythm, clearing the rain in sweeping arcs. I think of how she cried in the doorway, how he smiled from the car, how everything ended without a final blow-up or a well-aimed fist. It was just me, walking out, leaving them behind. Rage can be loud, but sometimes the silence after it is even louder. And in that quiet, you hear your own heartbeat. You feel the cost of your choices, your mistakes, the illusions you clung to. I push down on the accelerator, feeling the roar of the engine under my feet. The miles stretch out before me, an endless ribbon of asphalt lit by headlights, and the glow of neon signs far in the distance. I don't know what waits for me in the next town or the one after that. I don't know if I'll ever feel love or trust again. All I know is that I'm free of that house, free of that bed where she slept with him. Tomorrow, I might regret walking away without a fight, without words. But right now, in this moment, I'm content to let the storm pass overhead as I drive. Each crack of thunder vibrates through my ribcage. Each flash of lightning illuminates the road. The pain in my knee flares with each bump, but I've learned to carry pain as proof that I'm still alive. So I keep going, one hand on the wheel, one hand gripping the test results I stuffed into my jacket pocket, reminders of the child I thought was mine, the life I thought was real. I don't know what's waiting for me out there. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. But for now, the storm and the darkness are my companions, and the road is wide open. I whisper once more, I don't know how I feel. And in the emptiness that follows, I realize that maybe that's okay. Maybe that's the first step toward something beyond the betrayal, beyond the revenge. Maybe it's the first step toward feeling something real again.